Well, hello everybody and welcome to my show. My name is Jason DeCosta and this is Consistent Preterism. Thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to get right into it. I got a doozy for you. It's pretty freaking powerful. It's pretty awesome. Pretty undeniable. And they'll still try to deny it, of course, but it's undeniable. What we're going to do today is we're going to kind of recap real quickly about what I've been sharing so that it kind of leads into today's connections. Obviously, if you've been around for a little while, doesn't have to be very long. Last couple of months, I've shared some videos on Ephraim and the great multitude of Revelation 7. So you have the beginning of Revelation 7 where John sees the 12 tribes of Israel sealed with the Holy Spirit, 12,000 from each tribe. So he's basically revealing who got the sealing of the Holy Spirit. But then in verse 9, he looks, well, let me backtrack. In that list of tribes, we notice that one very important tribe is missing, that being Ephraim. And if you know about Ephraim, back in Genesis 48, when Jacob was dying, he was blessing Joseph and Joseph's sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, and he puts his hands on their head, and the promise that he makes about Ephraim is that Ephraim would become a multitude of nations, a fullness of nations. He would become a great multitude of nations. And that was the promise. And we see that happen throughout the scriptures as they're scattered and dispersed. And we know that the northern kingdom is often referred to as Ephraim as well. So there's a lot of connections there. But when we come to the end, we see Paul looking for this fullness of nations, right? And he says in Romans 11 that when the fullness of nations came in, all Israel would be saved. So we've connected that and said, hey, this is clearly Ephraim. And in Revelation 7, we see that Ephraim is missing from that list of the 12 tribes. Now, we have the half-tribe Manasseh there. So clearly, we got to have Ephraim somewhere, right? Well, if we look in the same chapter, we see that John then looks and beholds this great multitude from all nations standing clothed in white, singing praises of redemption, saying salvation belongs to our God. So Revelation 7 shows Ephraim as the great multitude of nations who were saved in those last days. Clearly, no arguments. And so what I've done over the last couple of audios is I've kind of connected that a little further, especially the latest one, which was the one about the First Peter connection, where Peter tells the elect of the dispersion in Pontus, Galatia, Asia, Cappadocia, Bithynia, he tells them that they were a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, and that they once were not a people, but had now become the people of God, and once had not obtained mercy, but have now obtained mercy. And what I did is I went back and showed you how that connects beautifully to Hosea, where Hosea, let's just jump there real quick, speaking about the northern kingdom Israelites, right, the 10 northern tribes, and their betrayal and rebellion against their God, he goes through and he gives this sort of symbolic discourse about the children that he had, that God told him to name. And the girl was told to be named No Mercy, and the boy was told to be named Not My People. And if you look at the context of Hosea 1 and 2, and further throughout Hosea, it's chock full of nuggets, but it's all about the house of Israel, right, and their rebellion. And they were the ones that were going to become the Not My People. They were the ones that were going to have no mercy, that God was going to have no mercy on. So that is where that terminology, not my people, no mercy, have become my people, have now obtained mercy, that's where it comes from. That's who it's connected to. Clearly, look at Hosea chapter 1, verse 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured or numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God. Okay, so here's one of those connections, clearly showing who it was about. You are not my people, house of Israel. But where it was said to them, you are not my people, there it shall be said to them, you are sons of the living God. Okay, so remember that. They're not his people because they're scattered, they're rebellious, they've turned their back on God. But God is promising that in a certain time, in a time to come, God was going to have mercy on them and once again call him his people because they would be the sons, or they are the sons of God. Okay, now we're going to jump forward and we're going to make a startling, incredible connection here that should take your socks and blow them right off, all right? Let's go to John chapter 11, okay? Now, this is the plot to kill Jesus, right? We see that the Pharisees are, plotting. They're saying this guy is doing all sorts of, miraculous, crazy things. Maybe we should end this, right? And so as it goes forward, we see this prophecy from one of the high priests, or the high priest named Caiaphas. And it says this, and one of them named Caiaphas, this is verse 49 of John 11, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, you know nothing at all. He's speaking to the ones plotting to kill Jesus. He says, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spoke he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for the nation. Here it is. And not for the nation only, but that also he should gather together in one the sons of God scattered abroad. Okay, now, let's stop for a second. Let's think about that. I just showed you Hosea, which shows that the northern tribes, Ephraim, was going to be scattered, was going to be not my people, was going to God was having no mercy on them. But God promises that at some point he would have mercy on them, and they would become his people again, and he would have that mercy on them again, and they would become, or they would, be again the sons of God. Well, here Caiaphas' prophecy is saying that Jesus should not die for the nation only, that being the nation of Israel in that day, those who would call themselves Israel, okay, but also would gather together in one with them the sons of God scattered abroad. Well, if Hosea is calling the northern tribes the sons of God and saying that they're scattered abroad and going to be gathered in, well, then clearly we know who John is speaking of here when he says about the sons of God scattered abroad. He, too, is speaking about the house of Israel. Okay, no surprise there. It's very simple to see that. But now check this out. This is actually pretty freaking cool, okay? I never noticed this, or I probably just didn't pick up on the significance of it until just recently. After Caiaphas prophesies this in John 11, right? Check this out. Verse 53, the very next verse, okay, he says this. It says this, then from that day forth, they took counsel together to put him to death. Verse 54, here it is. Jesus, therefore, walked no more openly among the Jews, but went thence unto a country near the wilderness, into a city called Ephraim, and there continued with his disciples. Now, isn't that pretty freaking neat, right? Here I am making the case that this is about Ephraim, that the sons of God scattered abroad are Ephraim, and I've made that connection in numerous places, right? We can go to Romans 9 as well, where he says, what is God having mercy upon the Gentiles? And then he answers that by quoting Hosea. Though the number of the children of Israel be as the sand of the sea, the remnant will be saved. In the place where it was said to them, you are not my people, there you shall be called sons of the living God. He's quoting Hosea to answer who the Gentiles that are being saved are. But John 11 is amazing because immediately after Caiaphas' prophecy about these sons of God scattered abroad being reunited with the nation of Israel, he actually says that Jesus went to a city called Ephraim. Coincidence, folks? I think not, right? Clearly, this is part of the mystical, magical nature of the story where everything is super ideal and pieces together like a perfect puzzle. Clearly, this is giving you the answer, okay? That's just my opinion. Take it for what it is, but I think it's pretty cool. Also, in regards to that, we see places like Romans 8 where Paul says that, when the Holy Spirit came upon you, you cried out, Abba, Father, right? Again, that whole sons of God motif, right? Here's Paul writing to the elect ones in Rome, telling them that when they received that Holy Spirit, they cried out, Abba, Father. And notice in that passage, I don't have it up, but he says, and since you are sons, God sent forth his Spirit into you, crying out, Abba, Father. Now, again, what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? It says, and since you are sons, And since you are sons, right, that came first. They were sons. And so God sent forth his Spirit into them. It wasn't the other way around. Okay, they didn't become sons once God sent forth his Spirit into them. It says, but since they were sons, God sent forth his Spirit into them, crying out, Abba, Father. Very interesting point that I trust you understand. And there's a bunch of other places like Acts 17 where Paul goes up to the ones in Athens and preaches to them. And what does he tell them? He says, since we are the offspring of God, we ought not be doing these things, worshiping false gods and false idols. Right? Again, tying into that son motif. These were the sons of God scattered abroad, the offspring of God scattered abroad. It all fits together like a glove, right? If the glove don't fit, you should have quit. Remember that saying? Well, the glove fits, so we can't acquit, right? The glove fits. So, yeah, incredible stuff. If you have time, I urge you to do a little bit of a word study on Israel being the sons of God, Israel being the children of God. There's an immense number of passages in the Old Testament that show that Israel was the sons of God. They were the children of God. And it's pretty incredible that, over and over, this God says in the Old Testament that I will be a father to Israel. They will be my children, right? Like, that's just repeated constantly. So the sons of God scattered abroad from John 11 are clearly them. They're clearly Ephraim. I don't think it's coincidence that immediately Jesus goes to a city named Ephraim right after that statement is made. It's just kind of like the magical nature of the story kind of giving you a clue. And yeah, that's just the bottom line, folks. There is no argument. Everything is divinely and sovereignly orchestrated to bring them to the children of Israel, the sons of God scattered abroad, and bing, bang, boom. That's how we do it. Folks, I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a like, a Rooski. If not, take a hike, a Rooski, and we'll catch you on that next one. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.